Welcome to the Hellmouth, everybody. Hope you're feeling 5x5. This is Major Slayage, Ket and Arik and Ethel rewatch Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm Arik.
I'm Ketrin. And
this is Ethel. We're not going to hold her the whole time, but she's walking around our feet the whole show, so we wanted her to get her moment to shine.
Yeah.
This is my biological daughter. I'm going to put her back on the ground, let her live her little doggy life.
One of four biological daughters.
Well, yeah, if you count the ones that are no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get it on. Maybe I'll post the pets on the socials. But yeah, here we are, episode 2, The Harvest. Last week was Welcome to the Hellmouth.
Mm-hmm.
We little movie magic that has not come out yet at the time we're recording this.
Correct.
So we don't, if you had any questions for us,
we don't have the answers.
We haven't seen them yet, so we aren't going to be able to say jack about anything.
Yeah, so maybe episode 3 will get your questions
Yeah,
answered, but who knows?
Yeah, we promise nothing. I think that the plan is going to be, again, more inside baseball. Kim Can't Stay Alive maybe is recording every other week right now. We are going to try and record this on those
off weeks.
So we are going to batch these a little bit. So if you do have a question, you have a comment, you want to have a suggestion, it might take an episode or two to show up.
Mm-hmm.
But we're dying for your comments. If you didn't leave comments on the last one, go back and just say anything. Talk about March Madness or talk about your favorite recipe. Just put a comment in there. It helps us get engagement, which we can help spread.
Ooh, favorite recipe. If anybody has a tofu marinade that they like, please share.
Yeah, we bought this extra firm tofu. We don't know what to do with it.
And I know what to do with it. I know that there are marinades out there that I would like to experience, but it's like it's too many to choose from.
Right. You say marinade. Is that like a hearth thing? Is that a summering at the Cape kind of thing?
I guess I
grew up in the Midwest. We said marinate.
To me, right? That's a verb. You marinate something, but the thing that it's in is a marinade.
Sound off the comments. Who's right here?
Oh my God! I thought so. Are you and Kim? You and Kim should have a podcast where you guys just make fun of words that I say.
How
I say them.
We come from hard Scrabble beginnings. I think we have that in common.
Yeah.
We didn't summer. We didn't antique. None of these things were verbs in my childhood. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah. But yes, if anyone has a marinade that they want to share in the comments.
That's hurtful. That's unnecessarily aggressive.
But also my accent was dead on.
Well, it's funny because we used to joke. You used to say like, we should go on Amazing Race. We should apply to Amazing Race. And I would always say they would literally have to change the name of the show to Arik and Ketrin Get Divorced on Television.
Right.
Let's not change this show into Arik and Ketrin Get Divorced on YouTube.
Okay.
So
we'll try
the hurtful white trash stereotypes.
The thing is, though, I honestly feel like if I was ever going to divorce you, it would have happened already.
I think that's fair. We also, interesting thing we know about ourselves, we can share with people. If one of us was going to kill the other one, it is almost certainly you would kill me.
Yeah.
Which bucks the trend. Usually it's the husband.
Right.
I'm going to be.
But it means my self-defense case is going to hold water.
Oh, I won't care. I won't be here. So.
Right. I'll care.
You do you.
I'm gonna get off scot-free. I'll be like, I was defending myself against my murderous husband.
Murdered nobody.
And then I'll go summer on the coast of Italy.
Yes, going teaking.
Yeah.
With your marinade.
Yeah. What show are we doing? Let's do this. First of all, did you introduce us? Did you introduce me?
I did. I mean, you kind of introduced yourself. I was about to do it and you jumped right in and did it. So
do it again. I kind of like when you blow me up in the beginning.
To my right, your left, my lovely and talented, hilariously funny, badass, super unique, creative, wonderful, magical wife, Ketrin Porter, everybody.
Thank you, my love. Oh my gosh. Much like gift giving, it's really hard to compete with that. He's an incredible gift giver.
That's my goal. It's not to be nice to you. It's to be passive aggressive.
One up me. Yeah. To my
You're never gonna figure this out.
Yeah. To my left is my kind, brilliant, talented, irritating soulmate, Eric Lane Porter Martin.
That's me. Hello.
You're so irritating.
Yes.
I love you so much. You're so irritating. All right. Do you want to talk about this episode?
I think so.
You think?
Yeah.
Did you have other plans?
I don't know. We didn't have much in way of other stuff.
Okay.
So
yeah, let's just jump in.
I think we're ready to rock here.
Great.
You want to take us through it?
Yeah. All right.
Let's do it.
Well, we know you're a poet and you didn't even know it. Let's take us through it. Let's do it. Oh, that's the kind of rhyme that you hate where it rhymes a word with its own self.
Yeah, I wouldn't do
You don't like that
twice.
Yeah. Anyway.
M&M's. This looks like a job for me because we need a little controversy. The world's so empty without me. Like he rhymes me with me.
Sure. And that bumps you out.
He's got this reputation as like the premier lyricist of his generation.
Are you about to shit talk Eminem right now?
I'm just saying he rhymed.
This feels like a bad move. Something tells me in a rap battle, he's going to kick your asshole.
No, in a rap battle, yes. But I think we need a beef to launch this show. We need to blow up the social media.
All right.
So I'm just saying rhyming me with me.
The title of this episode is Eric Beefs with Eminem.
Rhyming me with me, not the most impressive lyricism I've ever been exposed to. That's all I got.
Well, what you got, Eminem? All right, so we start this episode where we ended the last one.
Literally like the second.
Like a to be continued with youth pastor Luke, vampire Kevin, about to bite Buffy in the crypt. And God damn it, if that ugly piece of metal Angel gave her around her neck isn't her saving grace. It is. And I was mad about it.
Her 2 sticks of butter size cross.
Yeah.
Wards off the vampire according to plan.
Yeah. It's bananas. And so she ends up being able to bolt out of there because at this point in the show, though she has preternatural strength, she's still, I would say, her weakest version of herself terms of like skill and strength.
Upward trajectory.
So there's a few things in this episode that later Buffy could do in her sleep that she still struggles with from a strength and training standpoint. So she doesn't kill this vamp. She bolts. Like she knows that she is outmatched.
And that's one of the things I noticed in the fight from the last episode is she pretty easily dispatches that 70s show.
Right.
But
Luke,
Youth Pastor Luke, that's a tongue twister. We should have picked a different nickname for him. Youth Pastor Luke really gives her a run for her money.
Vampire Kevin works better.
He throws her around.
Yeah.
So like the vampires also have a kind of a ranking system. We've got your rank and file drones. Mm-hmm. We've got your mini boss. We've got your big bad. Mm-hmm. So I think that, yes, figuring out where Buffy ranks, she can dust drone vamps easy. Mm-hmm. A mini boss, gonna give her a run for her money at this point.
Yeah. So she bolts out of there.
Yeah.
She fends vamps off of Willow and Xander, who the vamps, I can't remember. She either dusts them or they run off because they now know she's the Slayer. I can't remember which one, but she saves them. And then we cut to the next day in school where they're doing a debrief in the library.
Yes.
With Daddy Giles. And
Daddy Giles giving a TED Talk.
Right.
And what's weird is I think this scene is set up. He's pacing. He's got a globe.
Hate this. Okay.
And it's almost like it's set up as a fake out, like he's teaching a class. Mm-hmm. And then we realize he's only talking to 3 people in the library.
Yeah.
I don't know what the point of any of that was because he's not a teacher, so he wouldn't be teaching a class. But he's in full Tony Robbins mode doing a seminar.
I don't know. I feel like he's, first of all, that strikes me as how Giles moves through his world, especially now. I don't think he's had snarky high schoolers calling him out on his tweet and his TED Talks. You know?
But I'm just saying, like, there's a emergency at hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's this plot unfurling before him, and he's in full presentation mode.
Yeah.
He might as well have theme music. Like, I'm saying, let's cut to the chase.
Right.
Cut to the Cordelia chase and just give us what we need to know to get on with the next thing. But we might well be all that stands between mankind and oblivion. Like,
right.
He's just,
I hear you.
So verbose. He's so theatrical.
However, how often does Giles get to sort of explain the lore of the land from start to finish to noobs like Willow and Xander?
Almost every episode for the next 7 years.
Right, but he doesn't. That's fair. I'm also realizing, like, right now, how Soup's chill he is immediately with bringing Xander and Willow into the fold. Now, yes, they observed things. They were there for shit.
Right.
But they're not the first humans to obviously be attacked by and encounter vampires.
Right.
And he's just kind of like, well, you're here. Guess I'll tell you the whole thing, which is great. But it's just like he immediately breaks protocol as a watcher, basically.
Right. He signs them up
right away.
But I think maybe he's good copping a little bit because I think he knows how reluctant Buffy is to this.
Oh, so you think maybe if I can make her feel less alone? Oh, because you know what? One of her complaints was in episode 1, she specifically references having to give up all of her friends.
Right.
Maybe Giles was being like, okay, maybe I can pull her in if I let her keep her little community.
Yeah, he's the guy behind the guy. It's one of the stark differences between, again, the film version and this is she had no Scooby. She had a fainting damsel in distress played by Luke Perry and the most useless watcher in the history of watchers.
Yeah, he literally could not fight.
He couldn't do a thing.
Yeah.
And he says, that's my job's not to fight. My job is to watch.
And then her friends are dumbos.
Yeah. So she went it alone. Granted, it's not the same Buffy, but it's an alternate universe Buffy. But I feel like, what do you got?
No, keep going.
Oh, so yeah, I just feel like, giving her a crew, giving her a posse, might have been part of his master plan.
His master plan. I want to start a segment when it happens.
Okay.
Again, we're assuming you've watched the show. By the way, if you see me looking here, it's because that's where Eric is and I am. But
the monitor is just off the camera.
I should be looking here, but I'm not going to. Like so just get used to it.
And I literally picked this seat so that I can look past the camera at the monitor and it's not as obvious. And when we were doing our tech through, I was talking about, maybe if I'm looking at the camera and then I want to look at the monitor, I shouldn't go straight over. I should look at you first. And you're like, no one's ever going to know that.
Nobody cares.
And then you just blew up the whole thing. You just talked about it.
I blew up the whole thing. I don't give a shit.
All right.
What was I saying? Oh, okay. So a segment that I want to do.
Right.
We have to assume that we're assuming that people that are tuning into this have watched the show before. That being said, we are going to only dance around things that could be spoilers. Like we're not going to go into great detail about things that haven't been introduced yet, but we may reference things that you would have to know having watched the show. One of those is who Rupert Giles was before he was Rupert Giles. He was Ripper.
This again.
And I think that is specifically, if we're comparing Merrick, her original watcher, who obviously the movie and the show are not connected, but they do in fact reference things, blah, blah, blah.
And we do see a version of Merrick in flashbacks
exactly.
in the show.
So let's just pretend that her previous watcher was Donald Sutherland, who was fucking useless as Merrick, couldn't do anything. And we're talking about how Giles may have enveloped Xander and Willow into this to entice Buffy to come out of retirement. And I think that level of sort of thinking outside the box and being kind of and kind of being a badass, like that's Ripper. That's Ripper.
You're obsessed with her. I'm going to go on a limb here and say, I don't think the creators or anyone that wrote on the show or Anthony Head had that in the backstory at this point. I think he's a real Poindexter, and I think they wanted that to be the thing. I think the idea that he had a roguish phase where he was a badass came along later and was sort of retrofitted into the show.
I don't think so.
You think they knew Ripper the whole time?
I think I knew Ripper the whole time.
There was no indication that this guy had ever been a Ripper.
I don't know.
Rupert the Ripper.
Rupert the Ripper. Okay. Well, anyway, great job giving her Scoobies to keep her in the game. We got to go back underground to Kool-Aid Mouth and Youth Pastor Luke.
You're going to take the fight to them.
Yeah. And we kind of learn, we learn a couple things. We learn that Jesse is one of the sacrifices. So if you remember, Darla took a little nibble out of him the last episode, which she was not supposed to do because that was reserved for the master, for Kool-Aid Mouth. And this is where we see Darla so sniveling.
Her performance in the beginning of this episode is wild because she is boss bitch in the first episode, and then she literally acts like, "I'm sorry, mister."
To the point.
Into full like Igor mode.
To the point. Igor mode. Yeah. Where I'm now realizing that when I very first watched this show,
you might not have realized it was the same character.
I don't think I knew that was the same character because it was so fucking different.
And it was like comically weird.
It
drew so much attention to itself.
It was comically weird. And it's the only time she's like that. In the future of this very episode, she's not like that.
And we never see it again.
And it is so off-putting. I think part of it is like the prosthetics are also making her talk like this a little bit.
Yeah, she's talking through a retainer.
And she's just like, "I'm sorry, master. I just took a little bite."
And it's just like, who the fuck? What the fuck is this?
I
Dust this bitch.
I think what they were probably going for is to show how scary the Kool-Aid
Mouth was.
But he didn't do anything different. He's been kind of the same elegant weirdo the whole time. Even if he's mad, if he's horny, he's hungry, he's the same.
When was he horny?
I'm just saying the guy has no levels. He's always kind of aloof.
Yeah.
Always kind of speechifying. If he had really like gone at her in a way that was terrifying, and then her demeanor
and then
drops,
she sniveled.
She was playing that half of that scene, and her scene partner was not giving her anything. So she made a choice.
It was just fucking goopy, man. It was
and sister.
I hated it.
Gross.
It made our skin crawl. Okay, so but we got to go back to the library because we're still talking about what this whole harvest thing is, and also like who Buffy is. Like,
well, we don't got to go back to the show. Goes back to this show. Literally has these four characters with no blocking, no movement, standing around talking. We cut to the Kool-Aid Mouth. We come back to the library and continue the same scene.
Yeah.
It was like they had one
just
long
too long
scene.
of a scene. Yeah.
But I contend if they had moved them to the courtyard, they had moved them to the cafeteria, just a change of scenery. So it wasn't literally just them doing the same thing for two consecutive scenes. The thing really drugged there. It's a lot of exposition. They're laying a lot of pipe.
Yeah.
And the lack of, they call it scope. I remember Kevin Smith talking about,
oh yeah,
when he was doing Chasing Amy.
Hold on, everyone. This is Eric's nerdy film interjection.
Well, there was
where I take a drink break. Keep going.
You're so disrespectful. He was talking with the producers of Chasing Amy, and he's got these characters. They said, you've seen a Kevin Smith movie. They just sit around and they talk. And someone's like, we need scope. We need to open the world up a little bit. We can't just have these guys in diners and comic book shops talking. We got to really. And he's like, what are you saying? Like, I should just have this scene take place at a hockey game? And they were like, exactly. Just same dialogue, but we make the interesting more the environment more interesting, something visual to look at, some different audio cues, just keeps our interest. It reminds me of when we went on our honeymoon we toured the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, and we got the VIP tour, and one of the things we got to see was the big cats. And what they did is they would give the tigers a box to destroy. The tigers sleep like 20 hours a day. They're just like our cats. They sleep all the time. They're only awake for 4 hours. And the goal was to get them as interested, stimulated, playing with this box, tear this cardboard box apart. And so to entice that kind of play, they would put different scents on the box. They would put urine, they would put animal blood, they would rub a steak on it. The thing that they found that got the tigers to play
for the longest
time, and again, it's a matter of minutes. They play for like 16 minutes, but they just wanted their brains to have something to do.
I believe this one, it was in the 40s that they played with this particular smell.
So the smell they found that got the tigers most interested in playing with the box was JLo perfume, which is wild.
Because I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, what's in that?
What
is in that? But my point is, as a TV audience, people are just sitting there zombieing out. Give us something to look at. Give us a change of scenery. They had just moved that outside or to, like I said, the cafeteria, or they're just, let's make it a walk and talk. And we're just something else, because it's literally just the same scene going on. I was bored.
We get it. So we go back to the Scoobies talking about the apocalypse at the hockey rink. And
they go to LA Kings game.
Yeah. And Xander's masculinity is threatened, and he continues, man, okay. I'm pretty bummed about incels right now. Like they're on my mind a little bit, and they're bumming me out. And again, I feel like Xander stumbled into sort of this micro matriarchy in the power dynamic that he is now a part of, where the top of the food chain, for lack of a better term, is a woman. Right now, there are characteristics of a matriarchy that don't necessarily map.
This is still a female-led patriarchy,
exactly,
in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but I feel like having Willow as a best friend and Buffy as a friend who's also a superior.
Right. And then even Cordy as a foil / romantic interest / queen bee in the social realm.
Yes. He narrowly avoided the algorithm pushing him Andrew Tate. Honestly.
Well, I mean, if they had an algorithm at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
Girl, I know they didn't have an algorithm. I'm using a metaphor. Damn. This literal ass bitch.
I am a robot.
He's such a fucking robot. Well, they didn't have algorithms at this time period.
What am I, Darla?
Yeah. Okay, so here's what we learned. Xander's masculinity is threatened because a girl is stronger than him.
He's less of a man.
Yep. Willow is in shock because vampires are real. And we also learn...
it's a very funny gag with Willow being...
But don't say it! Because it might be in my superlatives.
I'm just pointing out that it's there. She's kind of semi-catatonic, and it's a very funny thing.
Yes.
It's a very funny bit that she has to do. When I worked,
one might also say it's their favorite line.
Could be. When I worked at the CBS Diversity Showcase, our head writer talked about giving gifts. Like if an actor isn't the main thing in a scene and they just sit there, you don't want them to just sit there and be a prop. So you give them like a little mini through line. You give them like a little running gag. And that's called giving them gifts. So like there's a reason for her to be there. She's not what the scene's about, but she pops in with her little bit, her little gift, gets a little laugh. Our focus goes back. So I think that they really did Allison Hannigan a solid by giving her the gift.
Allison Hannigan also did them a solid by being a gift. She is just chef's kiss.
The gift that keeps on giving the whole year round.
Yeah. We will probably have some National Lampoon Christmas Vacation references constantly all the time. So we also, first time that we touch on where police are in this world. Well, first, I mean, episode 1, we learned that the police aren't even available to dispose of bodies or anything like that. But also we have an actual conversation about how the police would be of no use in the slaying of demons and vampires. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I keeping you awake?
Not at all. I'm trying not to cough. I'm still getting over a cold, and I'm trying not to ruin the whole show by coughing, so I'm trying to breathe it out. I'm trying to drink it out.
Yeah. Okay.
But call a lot of attention to it though. That'll help.
That's what I do.
But there's this interesting commentary in that remark about the police that feels relevant to our modern times. Like they're just going to show up with guns.
Yeah. It's woof. Yeah.
It's so interesting. So we have a house in Wrexham, Wales. We try to visit a few times a year, and an electrician who did some work at our house, his main gig is that he's a policeman. And I learned some fascinating things that over there that they don't carry sidearms, they don't have guns, and that it's the police and the police union that are the ones saying, hey, maybe we're not the best people to show up to every situation. Maybe there should be,
if there's a mental
workers,
health crisis,
there should be mental health professionals. And it's weird that the police are the ones saying, hey, we're not a fix all to every solution, or a solution to every problem.
Yeah.
Like, so I just found that such a refreshing approach to policing.
Yeah.
Another tangent. Please go ahead.
Yeah. In this conversation, we also figure out how we're going to get to the master, basically. So just to Kool-Aid mouth. Yeah. So they're like, where the fuck is he? Where are these vampires going? How did they just disappear after that chase? Buffy in this moment realizes that when she was in the mausoleum, when Luke came up behind her, she was facing the door, which meant that the entrance to the sewers, the tunnels, the whatever the fuck,
wherever he came from is in the mausoleum.
Right. So Buffy's like,
and it's cool because they seeded that in the first scene where she's laying in that coffin before he jumps on her, and she's looking around, and she's taking it in. She's doing her due diligence.
Right.
I'm going to have to cough. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead. Just cough. We also have one of the first lines that bumped me based on like the time that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
Buffy makes a comment of like, God, I'm so mentally challenged. And I just am like remembering how like being mentally challenged or like using the R word was like just chill back then. And it just like it's like watching any show from that time period where you're like, wow, look at all these things that I miss that were just not part of the conversation. You do have moments of like feeling like our society has made minor improvements to itself.
The march of time is toward progress. It's slow. It's not always direct, but
unless it's right now, in which we're just
we're about
barreling backwards.
We're about to do the Paula Abdul 2 steps forward, 2 steps back,
200 years back. Yeah.
But no, I hear you. Those kind of things, they feel anachronistic. I feel like it sounds like mush mouth right now.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like it sounds like someone clanging pots and pans together. When I hear a casual R word, I hear some ableist comment. I hear some just casual homophobia, usually played for
casual
laughs.
Misogyny.
A little essay, played for jokes, which we had in the Buffy movie.
Yeah, super fucking weird. But luckily, I mean, they stand out in this show because it's not the most egregious.
It's like you go back and watch Friends. Friends really did not age well.
Woof. Yeah, that one's rough. Luckily, those characters are charming.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to go back down to Kool-Aid Mouth. And just as our Scoobies are learning stuff, Kool-Aid Mouth is also learning things. And he's super pissed that a goddamn Slayer showed up right the fuck before he's supposed to harvest some goddamn souls.
His big coming out party.
Yes.
He's got a quinceañera planned.
He's so mad. And
Buffy's
honestly,
about to break his piñata.
Yeah.
Do you have a piñata at a quinceañera? Was that racist?
What? Possibly.
I don't know enough about either of those things to be commenting. Withdrawn.
Yeah. What I will say is, in Kool-Aid Mouth's defense, the timing is uncanny.
Right.
That the harvest, which is, all the stars and planets and butts have to align for everything. And this is when they deliver a Slayer. Like sucks for him.
We're dealing with a show that has to do with destiny. It feels like it was like foretold. Like this was inevitable.
I hear you. I'm saying that I think Kool-Aid Mouth has every right
To be bummed. She's stealing his thunder.
Yeah. That sucks for him.
Yeah.
So
Team Kool-Aid mouth.
No, he's terrible. Angel's gonna pop up again. If you were wondering if he took an acting class between episode 1 and 2, I'm here to tell you that he did not. It's fine. He takes them eventually.
He's still so kind of smarmy and slinging finger guns almost. Like he's not literally, but he might as well. He's got little quips and whereas like we come to know Angel as this like stoic, like tortured, and he's none of that. He's kind of like, hey.
And he has the most insane line reading I have ever fucking seen in my life. Are you
gonna do it for us?
I am. It didn't make it as my worst line just because the actual words that are said are not bad. It's his delivery.
Okay.
If you could be Buffy, and so I'm
role of a lifetime.
I'm fucking what the hell's his name? Angel. Not knowing what the fuck I'm doing just off my dog walking shift. So I want you to say, he's saying like, you know, the master is coming to harvest our souls and blah, blah, blah. You as Buffy are going to say to me, why don't you kill him?
That's my line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Lemon face lion. Lemon face lion face. Red leather, yellow.
Girl, we don't have time.
Right. So why don't you kill him?
Because I'm afraid. What the fuck was that line? What was that?
It's like he didn't know they were rolling. It's like he just thought we were marking it for
or
the
he
lighting.
Didn't know what the word because I or afraid meant.
It's as inscrutable as that legendary scene from Hercules, which Kevin Sorbo denies this is what happened. I think it clearly happened. There's a scene in the show Hercules where Kevin Sorbo shows up and it sounds like he's reading a stage direction because he just runs onto the scene and goes, disappointed. It's the dumbest thing you've ever seen. Maybe I'll drop that clip in here, but
I think I'm going to start yelling that.
Disappointed. It's almost that. It's
crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, it's hard to watch. So she goes through the mausoleum into, you know, the sewers, the tunnels, whatever the fuck. And Xander,
not a Ninja Turtle to be found.
Not a one. What was it? No, I don't know why I said it like that. Xander has followed her. And we're encountering many a vamp. You know, we're through the sewers. We're encountering many a vamp.
Don't we else? Isn't there a rat situation?
There is a rat that runs across her shoe.
But then as we get closer, there's a significant lack of rats.
Because I think what they said, didn't she say something like the rats? She said something about like basically saying that the vampires are eating the rats. Yeah. So the rats are running away.
Yeah. So they only
she has to run in the opposite direction of the rats, basically. Right. Yeah. Which was your favorite part? Eric loves.
Do not.
Rodents.
I want them to have a long, lovely life nowhere near me.
I saw our little Joseph von Gerbils.
We have a rat in our backyard, or as the drummer of my band says, I have rats.
Right.
I've named them all the same thing because I want to pretend it's just the one.
But it's not.
No.
There's a whole family, and it's a big family.
Ooh, we have to move.
No, they're cute.
We're burning this whole place down. We're getting out of here.
So, we live in an urban area. Like, there's gonna be fucking rats. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so what's happening? Many a vamp. We also see that a very special someone has also been turned into a vamp. And I think it's because he couldn't be part of the sacrifice because Darla sampled him.
Already
so they were like, all right, fine, we'll just turn him.
But we don't know right away. They find him. They think they're going to save him.
Oh, that's right.
They get him up and about, and he's kind of leading them where he thinks they're supposed to go. Mm-hmm. Kind of leads them to this inscrutable door that's hard for Buffy to open for Slayer strength. And she's like, I can't get the door.
Yeah.
Very weird. Claustrophobic. Not a great set.
Yeah. And then he reveals that he's got Buffy
He's got
face.
the Klingon.
Yeah. And he loves it. He's into it.
Because he was a fucking loser in high school.
Right.
Cordy didn't treat him well. He was a geek alongside Xander, and now he feels powerful. Now he's he's come into his own, or so he thinks.
Right. And Jesse's a vampire. Now we got to go back to school and see what everybody at school is doing. And we get this. This is a crazy scene that happens.
Oh, is this the computer class?
Yes.
It goes on for 9 years.
9
Jesus
whole
Christ.
years.
What is this scene?
And the most inscrutable extra with lines pops in.
Yeah. So Cordy and Harmony
Yeah.
are talking about why the fuck are we taking a computer class?
Right.
This is for nerds.
Yeah.
Willow's sitting there absorbing all the microaggressions.
Right. But,
And
well,
then-
because to be fair, they're also having a conversation about like Buffy was a whack job last night at the Bronze.
Mhm.
Cordelia's telling Harmony, hey, that girl is a whack job.
Bad
Willow
news.
is listening
Yeah.
and defends Buffy.
Right. But they're also talking mad shit about nerds.
Mad shit about nerds. And some fucking, all right, I'm going to do another impression. You ready? I don't know his lines, but I'm just going to pop in.
Well, here,
So
so I'll be Cordelia and you just do the thing. So
Okay.
Cordelia's sitting at her computer talking to Harmony. Oh, these nerds and their computers, ba ba da ba.
what happened?
You get in the I didn't.
What happened?
It's just some like surfer dude with long
No
hair
way.
who's just mugging. And we never see him again.
She was fighting vamps?
And then he also just watches Cordelia talk. So Cordelia's got a few lines and he's just like looking at her,
Oh
making
my God.
faces. It's the dumbest thing I've
it
ever
was
seen.
insane.
He kind of looked like the singer of that band Crash Test Dummies.
Oh my
Remember
God, don't do the voice.
Once
Don't.
there was this
I
girl.
fucking hate that. Stop it. Quit it. Quit it. It freaks me out. It makes me feel like I have a fever. I hate that song.
That scene. So, and then like Willow gets a little passive aggressive revenge on the popular girls by
It's
they're like,
how do I finish my computer project? And Willow's like, deliver. But really, guess what else begins with DLE?
with what?
DEL.
All right, we're gonna take that again. Everyone back to
guess
one.
Guess what else begins with DEL?
Delete.
Right.
But
So
it's a scene that isn't necessary, and between the little bits of story moving forward, there's 9 pages of computer jargon.
So dumb. So stupid.
It was so wild how good the pilot was and how much about this episode
Didn't
really
work.
does not work.
Yeah. I mean, I think they stick the landing. We'll get to that. But
Right.
Okay, back in the sewers. Jesse's a vampire. So are all the other vampires. All the other vampires
All
are
the
also
vampires are
vampires. And
Love a tautology.
yeah, and Xander and Buffy climb up, out of a manhole or whatever.
Into like a weird electrical grid. Like, it's
Yeah.
a weird like power plant situation.
Super weird. And there was also a moment where like Xander is the one like pulling Buffy out as if he would be able to like pull Buffy harder than the vampire. But no, because I guess the vampire is reaching up and the sun
burns the hand.
burns
and
the
yeah,
hand.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'll
I'd say
allow it.
Buffy
Yeah.
weighs 95 pounds wet. Like Xander could absolutely lift Buffy.
No, it's just another example of like seeing that like her Slayer strength isn't at full.
right. Because the vamp grabs her leg and they play a little tug of war.
Yeah.
But also, like, I wanted the power plant to be something.
Mhm.
It's this, they get this really, we talk about scope. We got this cool shot and they just kind of crawl on the ground and get up and like leave. Like nothing happens there.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
again, I
fucking-
think it's
they could have just come up in the street. I don't know why that.
Well, they were trying to do the hockey game thing that you said,
Yeah,
but they didn't do it right.
Swing and a miss.
Right. But they were like, Eric said that we need to set this at a hockey game. We don't have a hockey game. Let's go to this electrical grid.
We got this power plant though.
Yeah. Kool-Aid Mouth is so mad that they got away. Like so mad.
So his plan changes, yeah? He doesn't need at this point, he does a little
yes.
Ash Wednesday
yes.
on the guy's head.
Which at some point we had also seen that like Giles also saw the symbol, which looks like a Mitsubishi. Is it a Mitsubishi?
Mercedes Benz, I think.
No, I think it's a Mitsubishi.
The Mitsubishi is like diamonds, like little weird squares. But
Anyway, well, that's the symbol. So basically what it's going to do is rather than them having to bring him souls, he can basically like create a vessel.
Yeah, he's
which
put the
is
mark
Luke.
of Kool-Aid on Youth Pastor Luke.
Right.
So now if he goes out into the world,
they should have had him like line his lips with red.
draw
yeah.
Kool-Aid mouth on him.
Yeah.
So now when Luke goes out, anybody he kills, Kool-Aid mouth absorbs those powers without having to physically bring people, because they've proven they're incompetent. They can't do that.
Sure.
So instead of bringing people out, he can then send Luke out on little missions.
Right.
And whoever he eats, Kool-Aid mouth gets a little stronger.
Digests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, why weren't they doing that the whole time?
Because they're dum-dums.
Like, this is so much more efficient.
He's a season 1 big bad. Like, he can't, they're dum-dums. If he was better at his job, he'd be a season 7 bad. Mm-hmm. But he's not.
Is he even a big bad?
Yeah.
Does he last the whole, goes the full 22 episodes?
Yeah, motherfucker.
I haven't seen it in a while.
So
my Buffy lore is that kind of like when I was in high school, everyone loved Dave Matthews Band, and it just wasn't for me. I was into Metallica and Def Leppard and stuff like that.
I was into Dave Matthews
But then
he wakes up in the morning. Anyway,
they put out the one album co-written with Glenn Ballard,
Under the Table and Dreaming.
It's called Every Day, which has I Did It, has the space
between.
between.
Later I thought you were talking about their.
And I was like, ooh, I'm into this Dave Matthews record. And that's the one all the Dave Matthews fans hate. My favorite seasons of Buffy are 5, 6, and 7. And they made the jump to
those are my favorite seasons too.
Other network for 6 and 7. And those are some of the episodes that some of the hardcore Buffy fans like the least and or outright hate.
Yeah.
And so again, I feel like I'm not in the crowd because like the stuff that the diehards hate is like some of my favorite stuff. So
I think we'll get there, but like I think you and I respond to a particular type of darkness that
spooky,
yeah, I don't even want to go there yet
but I'm just saying. So I if I'm going to go back and rewatch Buffy, which we've done a lot, it's your comfort show. If you're just folding laundry or just doing chores, you put that on. I'm really unlikely to go back and watch like the first 3 seasons.
Right.
I usually start 4 or later. So those are the ones I know much better. So I really am rediscovering this.
Oh my God, I love that.
I don't remember the plots of every episode.
Oh, fun. Okay,
so
well, let me take you on a little ride.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you what the lore of
please lay it on.
Let me tell you what the lore of Kool-Aid Mouth the Master is.
All right.
So Giles was telling us that this was actually a vamp who came to this town in like 1937 or something. I'm probably getting the year wrong. But he was trying to, make all the town his vamps. But then he was also trying to like open the Hellmouth portal. He was like, oh, yo, this is like the Hellmouthy spot.
Got it.
But what happened was he's trying to do this portal opening, but then there's an earthquake and it's tricky business, as Giles said. So in the earthquake, he gets buried underground. And because he was like trying to open this portal, it fucked something up and he trapped himself in.
Yeah.
But that's why he ended up underground in this cage caverns, or whatever. Yeah. But he had to wait until the planets and the stars were at a certain spot.
So he could make his reemergence.
Exactly. So that's the lore that we learned.
Doesn't Willow actually discover some of this by trolling some microfiche? Doesn't she fill in some of the blanks? And figure out how it worked?
Yeah, she goes to microfiche.
Which I only bring up because it may come up in my superlatives. Anyway.
Oh, great. Okay. So that's the lore. Now we know that like some shit's gonna go down at the Bronze tonight. I actually can't remember why we know that, but we know that shit's gonna go down at the Bronze
Youth Pastor
tonight.
Luke is gonna go out and feed.
Right.
And he knows that's where there's going to be a lot of people.
Okay.
And it's easy pickings because they're either drunk or they're not paying attention. It's dark. So it's like,
right.
I'm going to roll up in the Bronze.
Let's do this.
I'm put on a show and there's going to be 1 million people to eat.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Great. So Buffy's getting ready to go.
Like...
God, that was dark. That was darker than the Master. So Joyce, Buffy needs to go to the Bronze. Joyce comes in and she's like, I have to be a mom. Yeah. And like the thing is,
school night, bitch.
No, it's actually because she snuck out and Principal Flutie was like, "What are you doing?"
That's right. Yeah,
sneaking
she sneaks out of school. We kind of skipped over that.
Yeah, she
and he closes the gate on her,
but then she
flips over the gate,
jumps over. So
dressed like she's again going to her job at Citibank.
Yeah.
She's a high school.
After having
16 years old.
Yeah, after having stopped at her child's school for a PTA meeting.
Yeah, the fashion choices are wild.
Because
it's not even like in the Buffy movie, we notice at a certain point she stops dressing fashionably and she dresses comfortably in a way that will allow her to fight better.
Exactly.
This isn't that. These are tailored pants, polyester pants.
Yeah.
And like a form-fitted button-up.
Yeah.
So it's not conducive to fighting. I don't know what. She shows up dressed like a go-go dancer with knee-high boots and a mini skirt.
Yeah. Well,
and now she's dressed like a goddamn realtor.
Agreed. It's all over the place. She's still finding her style, which she does eventually. You may not recall, but she does find her style. It's not in this episode, but it'll happen soon.
I think this look was peak Buffy. The red leather pants with the jacket.
Yeah, that was hot.
Yeah.
Okay, so but here's the thing. She's getting ready to go, and Joyce is like, "No, you can't go." But she sneaks out anyway after putting on what Eric and I think was a little touch of a reference to the movie.
I said this when we watched
because she is actively wearing not a business casual leather jacket of 1997,
or something fitted to a teenage girl.
It is 100% a men's like pilot
almost
leather,
like
the bomber jacket. Yeah. Which looks fucking fantastic on her.
Cool. It's got that boyfriend shirt kind of fit.
But Eric was like,
I think that's supposed to be Pike's jacket.
Which is like,
from the movie.
Which I love. So
they don't ever explain where it comes from.
Yeah.
At least in this episode they did. Maybe they do in the future. I don't recall.
No, they don't.
So
she never wears it again.
So we're going to go ahead and say that was Pike's jacket.
Yeah. So Joyce leaves and we see that she does have like her trunk of, weapons, but it is wildly understocked at this moment.
Yes, and there's also like a third of it is giant bulbs of garlic,
which we don't really touch on the lore of garlic. I do think at one point I think in this show, and I could be wrong, but we can talk about it when we see it again. I think that garlic is used more like and we'll just throw this in for good measure as well.
Right.
Basically the way like I'm never going to tell you to drink my herbal teas rather than go get antibiotics.
Right.
But I'm like, this herbal tea might help. I feel like they're using garlic in that way. But she grabs some holy water. She grabs some steaks.
Well, because as a green witch,
garlic
one
for
of the
protection.
Things is for protection.
Yeah. So it does make, herbal sense. So she grabs some shit.
Yeah.
And she flies out the window. She doesn't fly out the window. She goes out the window.
Right.
And heads to the bronze. And guess who's at the bronze with no bumpy face, but lots of vamp confidence? It's Jesse.
Oh yeah, he's got swagger.
So much swagger that I was like, hello, excuse me.
Eric Balfour putting on a full court press made you feel things.
Yeah.
Okay.
And unfortunately I was like, husband Eric Balfour.
Yeah.
So
you're trying to create an Eric sandwich.
I am Eric sandwich. And Cordy, in spite of herself, is also feeling it.
Well, yeah.
She's like,
he like fucking tells her to shut up or something, and she like visibly gets wet in the moment. She's like, ooh.
It was
like no one's ever talked to her like that.
And listen, I was into it. He knew how to deliver the line. So that's happening. And we also see outside that Darla and the Vamp Brigade are marching up in slow motion in a very theatrical way to another great song. Don't forget about our Spotify playlist.
Right.
where she is not sniveling again. Like,
right now she's
so confident, so Darla.
She's head bitch in charge again.
And it's just
it makes the sniveling so inscrutable.
Ooh, yeah.
And we before we get to this very scene, Cordelia says in the pilot, the bronze, they let everyone in. So we thought that meant, oh, this is like an actual bar and they just don't card people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how all the teeny boppers get in there. It's like the Always Sunny episode where they have all the 14-year-olds coming drinking. So I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like it's got lax. No, the bouncer
is actively
in no
carding
uncertain
people.
terms is like, I need to see ID.
Also, someone else pointed out he's counting cash. Cordelia told us there was no cover.
Yeah, I don't think anyone knows what the fuck's
It's also
going
like,
on.
I don't want to harp on this because it is so absent. I'm sure we will talk about it, but like, this is the bouncer is the first person of color we see in the show.
Yeah.
And we can tell you he is sacrificed almost immediately. And you know, it's pretty glaring. We'll talk about it more as it comes up, but yeah. Right. So the first Black character we see is a bouncer and immediately murdered, right, which is
he's like a Jack dude too.
Jack dude. That being said, that actor's performance was the best death of the show. And
I think unlike the girls in the locker room from the pilot, if he puts this on his reel, he hopefully got other work because he's
agreed
electric. He lights up the screen. He's got presence. He's got a great look.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll have to look him up, see if that dude went on to do other things.
I hope. Yeah, he did a great job.
He made a little bit part into something that was like, oh, look, fucking this dude, I like watching.
And I actually felt like he was afraid to be bitten by a vampire.
Yeah.
There's another extra who is just like taking an absolute nap while getting eaten by Luke. It's wild. So okay,
is that part of the? Do vampires like put you in any kind of trance?
A nap?
Is they rock you to sleep before they bite you? Is that part of their thing?
I'd be in trouble if somebody tries to lure me with a nap. I am in.
You're like, I'm asleep like this.
Yeah. So all right. So all the Scoobies show up. So Buffy is there, but then we learn that Giles, Xander, and Willow have a really smart plan that they're going to start ushering people out the back door. Which is great. Fight. Lots of fight in here. And Luke is
generally good fight. I enjoyed this fight.
Luke is up on the stage eating souls.
Right. While singing Creed songs.
While Buffy is, fighting off other vamps and Giles and Willow and Xander are pulling people.
I think the actor playing Luke also does a fantastic job. He's such a good heavy. He's got an amazing voice.
Yeah.
He looks great in the makeup.
He's
got a big presence. Like, I think that guy did a great job.
Yeah. In this scene, Xander and Willow also, Xander gets his first kill. Willow gets her first vamp maiming, but not her first kill.
Wait, who does Xander kill?
Xander kills Jesse.
And I dispute this. I'm throwing a flag. We're going to look at the instant replay.
Why?
My recollection is he's got a stake up to Jesse and is faltering. And he's like, don't make me do this. And someone else bumps into Jesse and knocks him onto the stake.
Yes.
So
however,
I don't give Xander the credit for that kill.
In a court of law, he would absolutely be prosecuted for murder, not manslaughter. He brought a weapon, held it to his chest, and had every intention. Prove it. If I'm the fucking prosecution, that motherfucker is getting put away for life for murder.
Well, this is because you're a compelling arguer. That doesn't necessarily mean that your version of things is accurate.
I think it does. So yeah, he gets bumped into and he dusts Jesse. Yeah, R.I.P. Jesse.
Jesse gets Thanos'd. Yeah. And again, heartbreaking because Tox wanted to put Eric Balfour in the opening credits. I'm glad cooler heads prevailed because
that would have been
shitty.
Yeah. And then Darla comes and attacks Giles. Willow was given holy water by Buffy and she dumps holy water on Darla's face, which is interesting because we see Darla later on and she is not disfigured in Bumpy version or non-Bumpy
I think
version.
they can heal. Yeah.
I mean, I guess
if
they
you're
can.
immortal and you live forever, you just give it enough time.
But you have to regenerate cells in order to heal. What are they regenerating?
Well, they drink a lot of blood. They're getting everyone else's white blood cells into their system.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no problem believing a vampire could heal from a wound, an injury. I mean, don't we see Spike get injured?
Yeah, I guess we do.
Heals?
Yeah. Okay. So she runs off because she's like, owie.
Right.
Owie wowie.
Yeah, it's wild. She does this a few times where she just like peace and like
bolts.
runs away.
Yeah, she
to live to fight another day.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, it's probably why she's as old as she is.
Right.
You know? We'll talk about Darla more. So now Buffy is in the fight with Luke. At some point, Cordelia, I think, is about to get sacrificed. She's like brought up on stage, has a great scream.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's bonkers scream though. It's not like an obvious scream,
but it's so good.
Oh, it's amazing.
She's incredible.
She can do no wrong. I'm such a fan.
She's incredible. But this is where Buffy actually has another instance where it's like, oh, she's not at her full Slayer strength, but she uses her surroundings and is really fucking smart.
Right.
So what she does is she realizes that like she is physically outmatched, thank you, with Luke. So she tricks him by javelining. I'm
in.
Oh my God, I love that. Javelining an inexplicable window in the roof. Well, no, I guess it's not in the roof, but she says like, sunlight kills you, bitch. And then she breaks the window knowing that there's a really bright fucking light right there.
Almost like a stage
and,
light.
Yeah, stage light. And so Luke is like, and
I was so wrapped up in the scene that I was like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. It's the middle of the night. Where's this? How late are these people up? And I was like, I was sucked in. I bought into Buffy's ruse
got tricked
so hard that when it was revealed,
Eric was like, what?
It was like, oh, she got me. She got me good.
Didn't you do it just like that?
What? I think I did. I think it was it.
And then she takes her moment to deliver my favorite kill. Which
might as well just mention it.
Okay. She symbols his ass to death.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
It's a symbol. Yeah. She
right?
does like an Odd Job from James Bond where he throws his hat and it can cut people.
Oh, okay. So, well, whatever he said, he throws a symbol. He throws a symbol like a frisbee.
She's seen like 4 shows.
Yeah. She throws a symbol like a frisbee and, decapitates him.
She disenheads him.
Yeah. So yay, Buffy did it. And then the Kool-Aid Mouth is so pissed because he's like about to break through the barrier and then his vessel is killed and he's like, no.
That's the screenshot for the episode. That's going to be our thumbnail.
Which is great. Great job.
Yeah, apocalypse averted.
And we have...
We get any kind of denouement?
We do. We get a little scene the next day where they're just like, remember that apocalypse, you guys? Oh my God. We averted it. Which is great. Really great.
Yeah.
We averted it. But there is, okay, so they're actually talking about like very dark things. Like they're talking about like ultimate death and doom. But the music that is playing is like the jauntiest little jig I've ever heard, where it's just like, it's like 90210, like just like, it's just like a happy little dance of a song. It's so silly. But we do get this the first sort of dynamic of Giles just being like so annoyed that his main source of socialization is a bunch of high schoolers.
Well, that's going to change in coming episodes.
Yeah, but it's just, I just love him. So the very last line.
He's a chaperone.
He's
He's
chaperone.
like a permanent chaperone. He didn't volunteer for one trip to Six Flags. He's on full-time chaperone duty 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah. It's rough.
It's its own kind of purgatory.
And he gets paid bubkiss.
Yeah.
I mean, we know.
I mean, you do that. You have trips to Universal and Disney coming up with your students. Ketrin works as an educator for a nonprofit that works with professional actors.
And listen, I love my kids so much. I would literally, I would avert an apocalypse for them. And I'd rather do that than take them all to Universal Studios and Disneyland for 8 fucking hours.
You are the Giles.
I am the Giles. I am the Giles. It's wild. So, and the very last line of the show is the Scoobies talking about, that apocalypse wasn't so bad, and marching off. And then Giles pushes up his glasses and says, "We're doomed." Cut. End of show. That's a wrap. Goodbye.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I think is this is sort of treated as a standalone episode. I think this is like a C.
Agreed.
But because you combine it with the first one, the pilot is so strong, and this has enough good stuff in it that I think it averages out to still pretty close to an A- for me. But there's a lot of shit in the second one that it does not work.
But you know what I love?
A lot of filler. I almost would have rather they just made like a 90-minute pilot. Or
do you know what I love?
What do you love?
It has to do with what you're saying. Eric is currently working on a script.
Oh boy.
Where I said, you have so much good stuff in here. And he's like, I can't have a 90-minute pilot. And I'm like, what if you did a 2-part pilot? And he's like, no, that doesn't happen. Cut to one of the most successful shows on television doing a two-part.
That's it, guys. I'm out.
Doing a 2-part pilot. No. Oh my God, you're about to break that glass thing.
No, I'm not.
Fucking idiot. If that had shattered.
Nothing is shattering.
A
Tooth.
a two-part pilot.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
A 2-part pilot.
Yeah, I'm writing a pilot, and it's the version I like is 80 pages, and I need to add a couple scenes. And the version that I could probably get meetings on, it would be 65 pages, which would mean cutting a lot of stuff.
Unless you do a 2-part pilot.
Nobody cares about this.
2-part pilot. 2-part pilot. You're gonna make a 2-part pilot. 2-part pilot. He's gonna make a 2-part pilot.
I guess I'm gonna beatbox every episode now. I didn't know that was gonna be a thing, but
Great.
Here we are.
All right. My superlatives.
Yeah, let's do it. We're in the yearbook. A meeting of the yearbook committee.
Meeting of the yearbook committee. Most likely to beatbox every episode is Eric Lane Porter Martin.
Facts. Mine goes to Willow, who is most likely to be the guy in the chair, which is a phrase made popular by Spider-Man. So
I don't know what that means.
There's the hero that's out in the field, and then there's the person that's back at the computer doing the research, looking up the schematics. Here's how you get into the place. Here's the thing. Willow's going to spend a lot of time behind a computer, and we see the first seeds of that with her getting all microfiche and learning the history of the earthquake.
Great.
So that's my most likely.
What's your least favorite line?
Worst line is Giles' TED Talk.
Okay.
God damn it. Just get to the
bummed
point.
You out. All right.
Hated it.
What is my least favorite line is when Xander goes full incel and gets mad that he isn't tasked with the job of killing vampires as the chosen one. And so Buffy is like, no, that's my job, or whatever the fuck she says.
That job is taken.
And he gets all butthurt and is like, right, yeah, I'm less than a man. Xander, shut the fuck up.
Do that in the sniveling Darla voice.
Yeah, I'm less than a man.
Nailed it.
Thank you.
My
best
line. So Buffy, Xander and Willow are coming to terms with having just seen vampires for the first time, and Buffy's trying to be. I can't see anything in this light.
Oh, God. All right. Well,
Look in the thing and see if it.
I can't because the camera's here, but I have to.
We're almost done. We're almost done. We
Keep going.
do your.
Go ahead. What's your best?
Okay, so she's trying to deflect. She's trying to like dissuade them from pursuing this vampire thing.
Sure.
She says, "Those were just guys in thundering need of a facial."
That was
which
good.
I thought was a great line. Again, I feel like this language is really coming on.
Yeah.
Here, best outfit. Who you got?
No, I have a best line.
Oh, best line. Yeah, I skipped
My
right
best
over.
line is same scene where Willow is like, I gotta sit down. And then Buffy says, you are sitting down. She goes, oh, good for me. Just such a great delivery.
Yeah, she's killer in that scene. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. All right. Best outfit. Who you got?
Buffy in her pike jacket. I fucking love that bomber jacket.
That was going to be mine as well. I do have an honorable mention, which is Jesse's horizontal stripes.
I want you to bring those back.
I think I'm going to wear them on this show.
I really like
I had
them.
a closet full of those back in the day. I wore those, and I felt like it meant like all young men were in Starfleet because however many stripes you had was like indicative of your rank.
So from the top up, I fully approve of those striped sweaters. I think those were a great fashion forward moment.
Xander wears a ton of these.
I really liked it. I felt like it was an opportunity for like boys to express themselves in a fashionable way that I also found flattering. It was great. From the bottom down, I do not wish for you to emulate anything about this era.
You're talking about pants or below the stripe?
Below, like pants.
Okay.
I
thought you were talking about like an ampere waist.
No,
and then
I would like you to only wear crop tops.
Okay.
Crop sweaters.
I'll just be like C-3PO. I got a body to here, and then here down, and the middle is just wires.
Exactly. So no, don't.
You don't want any baggy corduroy. You don't want cargo shorts.
I don't.
Any of that stuff. Okay.
I don't.
I think we're in agreement there.
Okay, cool.
Worst outfit.
I didn't have a worst outfit.
Mine was when Buffy leaves school in her realtor clothes.
Yeah, that's not great.
So weird.
Best move.
I didn't clock that.
I thought the symbol was really
symbol
great.
kill.
Like the whole just showing us that she's really fucking smart. Like she's not just like all brawn, basically.
Again, that kind of Jackie Chan thing, like using her environment to her advantage.
Yeah, I thought it was great. That's it. Great, we're done. Bye.
Episode 2 in the bank. All right, we're gonna be back next Monday. By the time you see this, with episode 3. We're trucking right along. I think we've only got 5 years worth of these to do. Over the next every week, once a week. So
I don't know what our sign out is, but will you make me a cocktail when we go in?
I absolutely will. Check out our other show starring her and Kim Burns at KK Sam Podcast, where Ketrin and her best friend Kim try to survive horror movies every week.
Yeah. And the show, yes, Kim and I are the stars, but to be clear, the only reason that you are hearing anything from Kim and I is because of our genius producer. I also would like to draw your attention to another project. So Eric is wearing Protect Trans Kids, Protego Maxima t-shirt. He has a t-shirt shop that has lots of really cool designs. It's a queer forward shop, but we also wanted to talk about why you made this. We made this so that we could go to Universal Studios and feel good about ourselves.
Yeah, we'll be quick. I know people are trying to get out of here, but yeah, so this is in the style of Harry Potter, but J.K. Rowling has proven herself to be a transphobic
is also a tox
jerk.
weasel.
So and there are a lot of Harry Potter fans, especially in the queer community, that feel conflicted, feel like I love these stories, but I can't support this person. And so the idea was like the stories belong to all of us.
Yeah, it was a household mourning period where I really had to come to terms with what my relationship with the stories was going to be, and I eventually decided that they no longer belong to her, and they belong to me, and they belong to everyone else.
So taking the iconography with a trans supportive message, and then when I go to Universal, I wear this, and every time I've done it, some employee pulls me aside and goes, "I fucking love your shirt. Here's a skip the line pass. Here's a discount on your candy." Like people really seem to respond to these, and I get letters from people who buy these who similarly wear them. They're like, "My family wants to go to transphobe Magic World. but I wear this as my sort of protest.
Yeah.
And they also report being treated like royalty by the employees there. This hat is also one of mine. Drag is not a crime, the style of Dare. I design all this myself. It's like my little side hustle. It's on Etsy, standgirlthings.etsy.com.
Yep.
Thank you for bringing that up. I always wear my own. I get high on my own supply, so I'm always wearing my own designs. But
yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Of course, yeah, and also at KK Sam Podcast
on all the things is where you
the
find
mothership.
The mothership, we call it, and this is just like the side project. Follow us on social media at Major Slayage Pod. Come back here, click like, click subscribe, make sure that notification bell is on.
Oh my God, you sound like a youth.
So that when we put some other stuff on this channel, some little snippets of things from social media, outtakes, little bits of our commentaries, whatever we decide to do, you'll know about it. It helps us grow the channel. It helps us reach more people because we're really trying to, we're committed to doing this for as long as it takes to get through the show.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe slap an angel's ass on the back of it when we're done. And in order to keep that enthusiasm up, we've just got to, we got to know we're not just talking to each other about it. So if you liked this even a little bit, if you would give us a C- or better, click that thumbs up.
Don't listen to him. I'm only accepting A+. What the fuck? Goodbye. We're out of here. See ya.
See you next time.
Toodles.